Hello and welcome to another video from the only channel that you need to not only survive the current apocalypse but actually enjoy it. And today's video is going to be about how a human being eats an orange. Now, I've got this reputation for being a permaculturist and a prepper, and honestly, I don't ever really associate myself with any of them kinds of people. I'm just a human being. And the reason I say that is because people use that permaculture name for stuff that I don't think is really appropriate. It's basically growing things in a way that you never have to put any input into it, or very minimal human input to get tons of production. And a lot of times when someone says they're a permaculturist, what they mean is they make a living by selling fruit. You know, a permaculturist to me, well, a human being to me is somebody who increases the life in his surroundings, whether they can sell that life or not. So I have literally 1,000 fruit trees, and I think probably 1,000 squirrels. So I don't really get any fruit, but I get plenty of squirrels. That makes me a human being. And it's always nice when they do leave me a little bit of fruit to eat. Anyway, I'm going to show you something. And look, if you're really just looking for a way to make money, then you're not going to enjoy this video. But if you really feel like you have a connection to the earth and to the creator who made the earth, then you're going to love what I'm about to say. Anyway, when you're eating a piece of citrus, there are ways to do it which do very little harm. And I'm going to show you why that is right now. All right, this is like a picture of some citrus. So anyway, over here you'll see, I can't do this backwards. Over here is a piece of fruit that's got the stem on it, and then there's one right there that doesn't have the stem. So that's what we're doing, is we're trying to determine what the top is. Now, if you get a piece of fruit that's still got the stem on it, it's going to be easy to tell that of what you got. But sometimes when you get them, they don't. And so you've got like a little dot on both ends. Now this one still has a stem, so we'll pull that off of there. But even with the stem missing, there is a huge difference in the little dot on the bottom and the little dot on the top. You can tell where the stem came from. So if we go back to our picture, this is the reason this is important. Whenever you slice an orange open, you're going to run into seeds if you just kind of slice it down the middle, which is the way most people do it. Everybody I've ever seen who eats an orange by slicing it in half slices right through the seeds. You know, that's the way I was taught to do it. But if you notice, right here is the top where the stem is, and there's a lot of seeds going all the way down. In general, all you're going to have is seeds in the middle and at the top, and that's for old school, because nowadays there's a lot of effort being put into making sure oranges don't even have seeds. So most citrus is going to be seedless. But if you get a seed in a piece of citrus, the seeds are going to be right in the center. That's where they're always going to be. But in a natural piece of citrus, orange, grapefruit, or whatever, you'll have seeds that come from the top to about the middle, but you rarely have seeds down here. Now sometimes, some trees, some years, will be completely filled from top to bottom, but in general, that's not going to happen. In fact, whenever I pick a tree like that, a lot of times I'll just throw the fruit away because it's frustrating, and I've got so much of it, you know. So anyways, we're going to take a look at this. Hopefully one of these has some seeds. Well, we'll start with this orange right here. Now that's the bottom, and this is the top. So we're going to slice that straight down the middle and hope for some seeds, because I don't want to have to cut too many of these open. And sure enough, there they are, and we've sliced through them. Now if you notice, this is starting to get a little dry, because around here I pick my citrus right before a hard freeze. If they have a hard freeze warning on the news, that day I go out and I pick all the citrus that I can get a hold of, so that anyway, you know, it doesn't get destroyed by the freeze. Now, if it's a light freeze, like it only gets down to 30, in general, that won't do any damage to the fruit. But if it's going to get down into the 20s, you know, it can freeze the fruit, and then it's not any good. So we try to pick it all, even if it's just a mild freeze warning, because that's just a good time to go out and do it all. And so we'll go pick that. So anyways, let's get back to these other pieces and show you what happens if you cut near the bottom. Now, if you cut right down the center, remember, we're going to get seeds. If you cut here, you shouldn't get any. Oh, I used a junky sharpener. Apparently didn't do anything. And sure enough, there you go. There's no seeds there. But if we go a little deeper in here, we'll find some. Didn't really want to eat any citrus right now. In fact, I'm going to see how old that's getting. That's been since the frost. It's been in my refrigerator. So we're talking about at least 2 months, maybe longer, since I picked that. And this one feels like it may already be dried out. Let's just go ahead and cut this one near the bottom. Ta-da! No seeds. We'll go a little further up just to see. And I will eat this. And sure enough, we sliced all the seeds in half. Now, the reason for this is going to become very apparent in a minute, because I'm going to walk you through the woods and show you where I dump all the waste products here. If you get a satsuma, you don't cut it all. You peel it, and you don't bite through the seeds. I think most people have common sense. As you read them, you can tell where the seeds are. You bite around the seeds and kind of spit the seeds out. But not all citrus is the same. And in fact, if you eat kumquats, the way you eat those, you eat them skin and all, which may be good for any citrus fruit. But you see, here's a bite near the center, and it pulls the seeds out. I guess while I'm here, I ought to go ahead and cut these other two, huh? Well, yeah, we'll do it. I wasn't planning. I was just going to cut a few of them and had these in standby in case I didn't get what the results I wanted. But anyways, here we go. There's the center. If we cut through the center, we're going to get seeds. If we cut down here, no seeds. Now, you're thinking that's going to be kind of a pain to eat, so I'll go ahead and show you that it isn't. Obviously, the skinny part, the thin part, not a problem. This is going to be a little more messy, but still not that big of a deal. And here's the thing. If you cut your orange down the center, and it's got 3 seeds in it, in general, they're going to be in the center. You know, if you have like 8 or 9 seeds, you'll have a couple up near the top of the orange. But if you cut it down the center, what you're going to end up doing is spitting out 6 halves of seeds. But when you cut your orange like this, you're only going to have to spit out 3 whole seeds. It's just as much work to spit a half a seed out as it is to spit a whole seed out. And so getting 3 seeds instead of 6 halves has its benefits automatically, you know, and that's not even counting anything that you have to, you know, any other thing you have going on, like planting seeds. Now I'm going to show you the process for how to get so many free trees growing in your yard. Here, let's see here. Here's the peelings and seeds that from the 2 oranges I just ate. We're putting them in my compost bucket. Now, this little stainless steel thing came from Walmart, and I don't know what they call it. It was just over by the kitchen stuff. And I thought, well, that's good. It's something that looks kind of cool and it won't rust. But if you look in here, it's like full of junk mail and tea bags, coffee grounds. Here's an avocado peeling. And of course, along with that goes avocado pit. And we had a salad last night, so there's going to be some tomato seeds in here, because no matter what you do when you're cutting a tomato, you're going to get seeds. And let me tell you something. Even though there's always seeds left over on the cutting board that go in this, a lot of the seeds just get swallowed when you're eating your salad. And for some reason, your digestive tract does not tear them up. They'll go right on through. When I was little, I had an uncle that always had beautiful tomatoes, and he never bought a tomato plant. He would go down to the sewage treatment plant, and where the overflow went into the ditch, there would be tomatoes growing all up and down that ditch. And so he got free tomatoes that way, and that's how I get my tomatoes. Putting my seeds in this stainless steel can was just the first step, and this is not what's going to be used to carry this stuff out into the woods. This right here is a fully automated composting toilet. They run anywhere from $600 to $6,000 for whatever reason. You can normally get them for $5 at the Salvation Army. I don't know how they do that, but this one, you have to check when you're buying these things to make sure that they have a chute, because a lot of them have this bucket, but they don't have the chute, and a lot of them have the chute, but they don't have the bucket, because this is what people use to go to the bathroom right before they die. So anyway, this has a chute in it. It's a straight chute, which allows you to fill up a 5-gallon bucket instead of just this little bitty 1-gallon pail, 2-gallon pail. So anyway, I'm gonna go ahead and dump my compost into my toilet. And that's what makes it automatic. No mess, nothing to do except pour it in there. That was my real poop in there. Okay, this is me. And this is tomatoes that I did not plant. Well, you know, I planted them, but not from seed packets. I was just dumping my compost here. And look, we've even got a few little flowers. So we may get tomatoes, I doubt it. There's always the stink bugs get on them. There's some collards. This is the one I just dumped in like yesterday. After a little while, that'll just be dirt. But as you can see, there are eggshells and newspapers in there. The newspapers come out of my wife's bird cage. She keeps a chicken in a bird cage. And I could burn the papers. I don't care any about that, but... And there's an orange. And this, we haven't dumped in this one for 6 months probably, which is why it's got a lot of stuff coming up. If you've seen this area before, this isn't even my property. But that's the power lines. And years ago, I was dumping out here. You really don't want to dump anywhere near your house, because I don't care if you've got 100 acres. You don't want anything anywhere around where your neighbors can smell it, because they'll call the cops. Let me see if I can find these things. It's always, and I just saw them a minute ago. I decided to go ahead and find them before I even turn the camera on. Where did they go? Oh, here they are. Now, this is the cool thing, is that the last time I checked this, see, these are citrus trees. The last time I checked this, there were probably 30 or 40 little citrus trees growing here. And when we had that last hard freeze, I came out and all of them were dead except for these 5 or 6 little trees. Looks like 5. Well, you know, you can only really have one, because the other 4, you can't have the citrus trees that close together. And I can tell you this too, they won't survive if you try to move them, because they're really, really in there, and that's pretty hard dirt. But the thing is, when they were 30 or 40, I didn't know which ones were cold hardy. But when the freeze hit, it was really easy to tell, because the ones that were not cold hardy died. And so these trees planted right here are going to survive. If I went to the store and bought a citrus tree, there's like an 80% chance that would not survive down here. Okay, here we go. This is another pile. Similar story. Next to, what do you call that? Poke salad, poke weed. And that's salad with a T, not with a D. But down here are some from maybe 2 or 3 years ago. It's been a while. These have been here longer than most. They've even got stickers on them now. That's all citrus. Some of these will have to go. I'll wait till they're big enough that they start to make flowers before I cut, thin them out. Show you where I'm at back here. Way back in my woods. There's my beehive over there. I don't know if you can see that. So once again, this is where I dump my toilet. It's not by the neighbors. I've actually got cameras set up all over my property, and I have got video of neighbors walking around my yard looking at stuff. So they'll come looking if they think you're doing something like this and call the cops. But even if they were to find this, cops are not going to walk, a quarter of a mile into the woods to arrest me for pooping. Here you go, believe it or not, this came up from seed. Yeah, I know, there's a big fire pile there waiting to burn. I've been burning there for years. It doesn't seem to harm this tree any. So anyway, this probably would already be starting to get fruit. It's been around for about 5 years. But it's too much shade in here, so it's not growing really quick. But like this tree here is so sick and dead, we're gonna cut that down. And then all of these little trees will get cut down, and they'll get plenty of sunlight in here. And of course I'll continue to fertilize it and water it as it needs, and we'll probably get fruit in a couple of years. Since you saw my avocado pits in my compost, I thought I should show you this. I don't even know what this is. I think it's an avocado. But at first when I found this, I thought it was an olive, wild Mississippi olive, which doesn't mean anything. A wild olive, basically, it puts out fruit that's smaller than a pencil eraser. And the seeds inside the fruit are about the same size as the fruit, so there's not really any food value to them. At least not for me, maybe birds or something. But this here, I think, is an avocado tree. I only found this like last year or the year before that. And this is my neighbor's property. There's my house. And she's cool. So I told her, hey, I gave you a free avocado tree, and she seemed to be happy about that. I think that's what it is. Okay, now that we've taken the grand tour, and I've shown you all of my citrus that's just coming up on its own, I'm going to tell you what got this whole thing started, because I think most of my viewers are able to accept a little bit of basic Bible truth in any of my videos. I just posted a video called The Ark of the Covenant that was about the differences between the Ark of the Covenant and Noah's Ark, both of which are called arks in our modern English Bibles, but in the original languages, they were not even related whatsoever. But when I posted that video, I noticed off to the side of my video was a bunch of links, and one of them said a debate about Russell Crowe's version of Noah's Ark. Well, as part of me doing the video, I went ahead and watched Noah's Ark because it just popped in my mind that that would be a good thing to do. And something I noticed in there is that even though a lot of the movie was inaccurate according to the Bible, it was still less inaccurate than what they teach in church. Because if you go into the Bible and you read the original account in the original languages, it's nothing like what they teach you in church. But obviously, Hollywood's version isn't anything like they teach you in the Bible either. It's because we've got what, maybe two paragraphs. So we've got this 120-year story. God says, I'm going to kill off all of mankind with a flood in 120 years. And so you have 120 years to prepare for this flood. And then there's a list of, the ark will be so many meters long and so many meters high and so many meters wide. And you're going to have 2 of every clean or unclean animal and 7 of every clean animal. And that's basically it. So all of the extra details that you get from church are a lie. And if you go to the movie, which is an hour and a half long, everything outside of what I just told you is a lie. Now, it's not so much a lie because we know it's not true. It's just that we don't really know. We know that Noah was around at a time when an ark was built. All life was saved on the ark. There was a flood. The other details, who knows? Like I guess in the churches they teach you that Ham was somehow evil. There's nothing in the account to indicate that Ham was evil. In the Russell Crowe version, I think the very beginning of the movie, Noah is with his father Lamech, and he's a little child, and his father's showing him something out in the woods or on the plains, and these bad guys come along and they kill Noah's daddy Lamech. So Noah's like 6 years old when his daddy's killed. In the Bible, Noah was like 500 years old when his dad died, and we don't really know how he died. So there are a lot of things that are just thrown in there that are absolutely wrong, same as church. And then there's things in the movie that are questionable, just like in church. But one of the things I really liked about it is in the Bible it brings out that God was going to kill off all mankind because they were wicked and they were ruining the earth. Well, in the Hollywood production, that was the point. Human beings had totally destroyed the ecology of the earth, and so God was removing the human beings so that the earth could be saved. And in this little video that I saw where this preacher is arguing with this guy that is an atheist, the preacher says, well, you know, the movie was wrong because God did not bring this flood to stop mankind from destroying planet Earth. He brought the flood because these people were sexually immoral. And I thought, what? That's so stupid. There weren't even any rules about sexual morality given to Noah or to Adam or anybody else that lived before the flood. But there were a whole lot of rules in the Bible about how to care for the earth. It said God put man in the forest to dress and keep the forest. Well, if you translate that into modern English properly, what it says is man was put into the forest to make sure that nothing bad happened to the forest, in order that the forest would make sure nothing bad happened to the man. So, in some ways, that movie, that crazy Bronze Age science fiction movie, or Iron Age science fiction movie, or Bible movie, was really a science fiction movie. But it's more accurate than what the churches teach. So, anyway, I just thought that. And here's the thing. In the movie, where they come up with this, is Noah is with his children, and they're out walking around doing something, and Ham, the wicked kid, reaches down and picks a flower. And Noah says, no, we don't do that. Those flowers produce seed. The seed makes life. And so we don't harm life. We save life. And about that time, a drop of water hit the ground, and a new plant came up where that water hit. And Noah says, we got to get out of here. So anyways, I just thought I'd throw that in there. If you live in the city, obviously you can't be dumping compost all over the ground, and you're not going to be able to grow a yard full of wild citrus trees. But, the lesson is still a good lesson for everybody, because we all have to do what we can do. It just so happens I live by thousands of acres of woods. I can get away with this stuff. I don't sit in judgment of those who can't. If you don't want to survive, don't listen to me.